Good morning, dear students. This is Dr. Priyanka, and today we'll be discussing the research process. Research process involved while doing business research. Let me share the screen, PPT, so that we can discuss it. Research process. Before starting with the process, let us see how information helps us to decide how should we conduct research or not. Information always reduces uncertainty. Though future is very uncertain, we cannot predict anything 100%, but still information helps to predict future sometimes, or at least some educational guesses can be there. It helps focus decision making. Yes, if you have information available about one area regarding which you need to understand how sales help, how advertisement help, right? So you can go for that particular decision making. For example, you want to know that in which area you should introduce new your new product, or maybe you should provide some promotional benefits. Then how will you understand that particular thing? When you have sales data, how people are buying the products, and how much discount they want, and if they get discount, whether they'll be willing to buy more products or not. So for that, you need some sales data. And if you have that particular data or say information available with you, then it is definitely going to help in decision making in a better way. Information reduces uncertainty. We just talked about that. Sometimes you are 100% certain about one situation, that yes, this is happening because of this particular problem. For example, you know that why your product is not getting sold in this particular area. So you can solve that problem without doing any kind of business research. You don't need business research. Business research is needed when you are not certain, though you can never be completely certain about future, but at least you can be certain about your future, your products, pros and cons, right? For that, you should not be completely certain if you want to go for business research. If you are 100% certain about something and you just want to set up the relationship between two things, for example, how much advertising helps in sales, so you can go for some relationships, like you can conduct research at that particular time when you know that you need to exactly know how much to spend on advertisement so as to increase sales by 1%, 10%, 20%. For that data, you can go for research, and for that we'll be discussing in further slides how causal or descriptive research happens. You'll be going for causal research when you know everything about the research. You just want to have some numbers with the help of another numbers. There are three kind of situations when we talk about uncertainty. One is complete certainty, another one is complete ambiguity, that you don't know anything at all, and one situation is uncertainty. You know few things and you don't know a few things. That is also a kind of situation when you can go for business research. And at the time of absolute ambiguity, when you don't know anything at all, at that time also you can go for research. Basically, when you are 100% certain about the situation, then you will not be going for business research. You will be just going for some formulations, like in causal or descriptive research. If you are uncertain and you have some educated cases, then definitely you can go for research. When there is an ambiguity, complete ambiguity, that is the most difficult decision situation. So for that, you really need some business research. Business research becomes actually more attractive to decision makers when there is a ambiguity about the situation. Now let us have some discussion about types of research. There are basically three types of research. We have discussed it in previous topics, but still just have a discussion. We'll just have a discussion about these in 1 minute. Exploratory, descriptive, and causal. Exploratory research means then you are at the stage of absolute ambiguity. At the time of absolute ambiguity, you will be going for exploratory research, because you need to explore what kind of the problem there might be in the company or something like that. But when you know certain information, when you are not 100% absolute ambiguity stage, but you know a few things, and you are not actually completely certain, but you are just uncertain about a few things, then you can go for descriptive research. You can start describing the things so that you come to a conclusion that yes, this was the thing which was going wrong, and this is the thing which you need to do. Then there is causal research. When you know a lot of information, you are almost certain about things, but you just need to clarify a few relationships. You need to set up a few relationships about among two three things. For example, you know that advertisement is affecting sales. When you do more advertisements, or when you go for some promotional products, when you offer more discounts, then sales increase. You know that for 100%, but now you just need to know how much discount you should provide so that to increase sales by 10%. For that numbers, you will be going directly for causal research. For that, you don't have to go for exploratory or descriptive research. So these are the three kind of research which will be taking help while conducting research. Let us have a look at them once again with the help of examples. Exploratory research means we are unaware of the problem. We don't know exactly what the problem is. For example, our sales are declining and we don't know why. Then you will be having to search everything so that to come to know about the problem. Then would people be interested in our new product idea? For that also you need a survey, so that you come to know about the issues people might be facing with old products, so that to adopt new product, you need to know what kind of the features should be added to the product so that people buy that. Then second is descriptive research. Maximum it happens that exploratory research leads to descriptive or causal research. So once you are done with the features added, features to be added to the product, now you need further information. Descriptive research is when you are aware of the problem. You are not 100% clear what should be done or how should it be done, but still you just know the problem. Then for example, what kind of people are buying our product, who buys our competitor product. You know, some people are not buying your product, but you just need to know what kind of people they are, so that you can help increase sales up to some extent. Or what features do buyers prefer in our product? What are the features most preferred by the buyers, so that you can maintain them for further good sales. Next, causal research. Sometimes descriptive research also leads to causal research. Exploratory research at 99% times leads to descriptive or causal research, and sometimes descriptive research also leads to causal research. When you know a few things, now you are 100% clear what relationship is to be set, so you will be taking variables accordingly. For example, will buyers purchase more of our products in a new package? Now you know that new package might be the issue for people. Or which of two advertising campaigns is more effective? Now you need to know people's opinion about two advertisement campaigns you are already going for, so that you can decide which one to keep and which one to withdraw. How exploratory research is done? Generally with the help of secondary data or experience surveys or pilot studies. Secondary data is data available on different websites or in libraries or in magazines, anywhere. Experience survey means you will be going to people and ask them about things. For example, about the product. You might ask them, what kind of product do you use? Why do you use this? What are the features you want to be available in the product? What should be the price? What is affordable price for you? And so many other things. Then pilot studies. Pilot study means you will be throwing the product in the market for some, in a selected area, so as to know how whether people are buying that product, what kind of inquiries they are doing, so as to know how to launch the same product in another areas as well. Pilot study basically is a small scale launch of your new product when it comes to product launch. In exploratory research, initial research is conducted to clarify and define the nature of a problem, but it does not provide any conclusive evidence. And it is always like that. Subsequent research would be expected. For example, you will be either going for descriptive or causal research. Descriptive research, it describes characteristics of a population or phenomena. For example, average age of students, average height of students. It will be giving you some numbers, some understanding of the nature of problem. It will further give you the understanding, some more understanding than exploratory study. For example, Weight Watchers average customers, women about 40 years old, how do they prefer, household income of about $50,000. These are some parameters, the way descriptive research would be giving you the answer. For example, you are talking about Weight Watchers average customers. So these are the customers, women about 40 years of old or years of age, or household income of about $50,000. They'll be buying the watch you are talking about. Descriptive research is basically about what, why, when, how, where, and who. For example, Rudyard Kipling said that I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. The names are what, why, when, how, where, and who. Now, causal research. It is actually to identify cause and effect relationships. You already know that there's a relationship between two variables. Then only you will be conducting this study. For example, how dollar affect gold business. Identifying causality has its own limitations. Causal relationship is actually impossible to prove. It's not 100% possible to prove a causal relationship. Evidence of causality, how would we come to know? Number one, the appropriate causal order of events, whether they are actually causing one or the other events, or concomitant variation, two phenomena varies together, or in absence of alternative plausible explanations. Number one, the appropriate causal order of events means the same cause and effect relationship is happening again and again. Concomitant variation means two phenomena actually vary together, but we don't know why they are varying together. I mean, there are two phenomena A and phenomena B. Phenomena A and B are going together, traveling together, but it is not clear whether if phenomena A is affecting B or phenomena B is affecting A. That is not clear here. Or an absence of alternative plausible explanations. Sometimes we are not 100% clear about other variables which might be affecting these two variables we are talking about. Now, finally, the stages of the research process. Number one, problem discovery and definition, then research design, sampling, data gathering, and data processing and analysis, conclusions and report, and the last is discovery and definition. And this is actually the start of another problem discovery and definition, and so on. The process goes on. Let us understand this with the help of, first of all, how it works, and then we'll be discussing it step by step. Research stages basically are cyclical in process. Conclusions generate new ideas. Like we just had looked at it, like when you are at the last step, that is actually the first step of next problem, next research process, or maybe next research, right? So this is actually cyclical in process. Conclusions generate new ideas. Then stages can overlap chronologically. Sometimes you are analyzing some data and then gathering some information again. You can, sometimes steps are overlapping, but this is the actual this process would be the same, but sometimes it is like you'll be gathering some data and then you will be going for sampling, or maybe you are at the stage of data processing and analysis, and you will be gathering some data again. So this happens. We'll be discussing this in detail. Then stages are functionally interrelated. There are two kind of linkages. One is forward linkage and another one is backward linkages. For forward in linkage, for example, when we talk about research design, though you will be very clear after discussing the research design in detail, but still when you design research, that means you are sort of preparing a master plan for your research, and for that you need to be very clear about research tools to be used, data gathered to be used, right? So this is actually forward linkages that you will be using that particular research stage, research design further. That will be very helpful in further steps. And then backward linkages, sometimes when you are analyzing the data, you'll be using computers for sure, you will be needing some coding, and coding should be done at the time of data gathering so as to help in a better way at the time of data analysis. So this is called backward linkages, that you will be needing data gathering codes you'll be needing the codes to be used while data analyzing at the time of data gathering as well. So that is called backward linkages. You can even, at the time of exams, you can even draw the kind of flow chart like this, so as to clear that yes, you know how the stages works. Let us discuss them one by one now. From problem discovery and definition, this is actually the first step. And problem discovery means you are talking about a new opportunity, you need to monitor more operations, right? And you need to know what actually the problem is, and this is the basic and most important step for any research, any kind of research. Discovery before definition. You need to know a few things before defining research problem. For example, you want to work on sales of the company, so you need to know the whole customer database for that particular product's sale. You need to know all the wholesalers where your product is being distributed. Everything you need to know about that, right? Problems means management problem. That means it's a kind of a problem your company is facing right now, and you need to solve that. So for that, you need to list down what kind of problems are there, and for that, what kind of information you already have, so that you can generate some questions. You can actually define your problem. The formulation of problem is often more essential than its solution. Why? Because if you will be, for example, if you will be telling the doctor that you have a headache, but you actually don't have headache, but you have back pain, what will happen? He will not be able to diagnose you properly. So that is why we say that problem definition is more and more important than its solution. Second is state the research questions and objectives. This is actually the part of problem definition. When you know actually that you know what kind of the problem you are facing, then you'll be actually stating some research questions and research objectives, that yes, I need to define this, I need to define this, I need to have answers of these questions, so that you can actually proceed further. Now you should know what kind of the answers you are looking for, and what kind of the objectives you already have in for your research. On those bases, you will be stating some hypothesis. So hypothesis basically is a statement that yes, advertisement affects sales, or advertisement affects sales positively, or advertisement affects sales negatively, or advertisement does not affect sales at all. These kind of statements you will be providing. Hypothesis is something that can be refuted. Hypothesis will be generated in two forms. One is always null and another one is alternative. Whatever you want to prove, still you will have to give two kind of hypothesis. Null hypothesis would state like there is no relationship between sales and advertisement, and alternate hypothesis would always be stated like this: there is a association between sales and advertisement, positive, negative, you can decide it. And hypothesis is generally uh, cleared with the help of empirical data. If you don't know where you are going, any road will take you there. For example, you actually don't know your destination. What will happen? You can go through any road to anywhere, right? But that is why we need a road. We need to know what our destination is, and these research questions are actually our destinations, or you can call this hypothesis as our destination. Now, to reach the second step, we need to be clear about certain things, and which are, how would you go about research? Like, for example, we just discussed there are three kind of research designs: exploratory research, descriptive research, and causal research. First of all, you need to be very clear about your problem, and through problem and research questions, now you know what kind of the research you are going to conduct. For example, if you are going to conduct exploratory research, then how would you collect the data? Either through secondary data, historical data. You can read the reports available online, you can go to the libraries, you can read newspaper, magazines, and so many things are available to gather historical data. Then pilot study. Pilot study means you will be selecting a group of people and you will sort of experiment on them, whether whatever you think is actually right or not. For example, you know that you are going to launch a product in a country. You can pick up a city, or you can pick up a small sector where you can launch your product at first, and then decide to launch that product in the whole country, right? That is called pilot study. Experience survey. Experience survey means you will be going to the population of your problem. See, when I am talking about population, population doesn't mean the population of a country. Population means your target group. For example, you are selling a car. So you will not be targeting below poverty line people for sure, who are struggling to eat 2 times food, right? So you'll be having a target group. You will be targeting some people, and all those people coming in that particular target group would be your population. So out of that population, you can pick up a small sample and ask them questions regarding the product, like why do they like this product, why don't they like the same product, what are the features they think should be added, what should be the expected price, and so many things are there to be asked about the product. And when you know that there is a problem, you will be knowing what kind of the questions should be asked from the customers, so that you know how to solve it. Then case study. You can actually solve some things with the help of case study as well. You can provide the case studies to people, and believe me, they'll be having different kind of solutions. They'll be solving that study from the viewpoint of different angles. For example, if you provide a case study to a person who thinks everything economically, then he'll be finding out a solution of that case study in the form of economics. Or if someone always thinks of charity, he'll be finding out the solution in the case of charity. For example, when we look at the company, they'll be looking at every problem from their point of view. A finance manager will look just at the financial perspective. Marketing manager will be looking at the advertisement perspective. Production head will actually look at the machinery cost and all those things while conducting business research through a case study, right? So everyone has their own opinion. So exploratory research basically is to explore these things and collecting data through these methods. For example, census is conducted almost every year, almost every 10 years, right? That is just to describe the data. So census is one kind of information available to you for every kind of thing. You can extract information from that, whatever information you need, that is available. Or previously collected data, for example, this similar kind of project might have been done by somebody else, and that data is available online, so that can also be used. And literature survey means you can read papers, you can actually read research papers provided by different people at different times, so as to know the same about the similar situation few years back, and similar situation in different cities, different countries, and from different angles. It really helps a lot. This is the first thing you should always do while conducting the research. You should read papers regarding the same topic. Then pilot study, it also helps a lot. A number of diverse techniques are there while conducting pilot study. You can use n number of techniques, but the actual thing is you will be doing the same study on a very small group of people. Then focus group interview is one. You'll be providing the problem to a few people, to a group of people, and then you'll be focusing on that, the kind of answers they provide. So from there also sometimes from solution comes out. Now actually the second step is research design. To reach to this particular step, we were discussing all these things. Research design basically is a master plan which will be having all the information of further steps. This is actually the framework for action, and it specifies all the methods and procedures to be used further in the research process. Basic research methods are, we have already discussed them: surveys, experiments, secondary data, and some observations. Now, third step is selecting a sample. It is a part of research design, but still this is different. In research design, you will be providing this particular thing as well. Sample is always a subset of large population. And I told you population doesn't mean population of the whole world or population of the country. Population means your target population as per your product. Sampling, who is to be sampled, how large a sample should be, how will sample units be selected. This is very important, and it should be done very clearly, so that you get actually without errorless results, right? So who is to be sampled? You can go with random sampling techniques, and there are some other techniques as well. We'll be reading sampling in another in upcoming chapters, but still sampling is something deciding. For example, you have got your population is just 1,000 people. You can choose 50 or 100 people from that particular population, and you'll be taking samples. It should not be like that you are taking 5 members of one community, and you are leaving one particular community as such. No, you can take, if you have 10 communities, and 10 communities comprises of 1,000 people, then you can choose 10 people from each community. That would be actually the good sample. How large a sample should be, it depends on your population and the kind of questions you have asked. How will sample units be selected? Sample units should be selected unbiased. If you will be choosing the sampling units on the basis of some bias, then you will not be getting actual results, natural results. Then data gathering stage. How will you gather the data? That is really very important, and you should know it beforehand, so that you don't get any problem while collecting the data. Sometimes it is that some kind of data is not available anywhere. If you want to work on stock markets, suppose some years data is not available, for a company data is not available, you should know it beforehand. So that is why we discuss everything at the time of research design. We should know these things at the time of designing the research plan, so that we can change things if we want. You can collect data through secondary sources. You can actually collect data through primary sources as well, through questionnaires, through surveys, through interviews. This is again another whole chapter. Data processing and analysis. You will be feeding the data in your system, in computer, or maybe you have collected data through online system, and then you'll be analyzing them with the help of some tools. For example, if you want to describe data, like you want to average out things, you'll be finding out average of those things. For example, you want to set up a relationship among 2, 3 or more variables, then you will be going for correlation and regression techniques. For example, you just want to know about one variable, then you can go for t-test, or you can go for ANOVA if you want to go for 2 or 3 kind of features or characteristics of that particular product. It depends on what kind of the findings you are looking for, what kind of the analysis you want to do. It depends on that which kind of tool you will be using. But there are numerous tools available. Get conclusions and report writing. This is very important. See, the same data analysis can be, the same data tables can be analyzed differently by 2 people. So this is very important, how you conclude and how you will be writing the report. Effective communication of the research findings is very, very important. So you need to write the report very carefully. Then research proposal. Written statement of the research design that includes a statement explaining the purpose of study. That is very, very important at the time of research design, and it should be reflected in the final report as well. And detailed outline of procedures associated with the particular methodology. This is actually a research proposal, or you can say research plan, or you can say research design. You did this all at the time of research design. Now you'll be answering everything which you left in research design. This is how research proposal is made. I hope it is clear, the research process and the research proposal. Now some questions. True, false. A business opportunity is a situation that makes some potential competitive advantage possible. Is it true or false? Business opportunity is a situation that makes some potential competitive advantage possible. Yes, it is true. Research is the process of developing and deciding among alternative ways of resolving a problem, or choosing from among alternative opportunities. If we actually have alternative ways and we have things in hand, we don't have to conduct research. So this is actually not research. It is decision making. So the answer is false. The purpose of exploratory research is to provide conclusive evidence for a particular business action. Is it true or false? Purpose of exploratory research is to provide conclusive evidence for a particular business action. Exploratory research never provides conclusive evidence. So that means it is false. Conclusive evidence is either provided by causal research or sometimes by descriptive research as well. Descriptive studies are descriptive studies are conducted with a considerable understanding of the situation being studied. Is it true? Yes, this is. Descriptive studies are actually conducted with a considerable understanding. We have some understanding of the situation, that is only when we go for descriptive research. Now some self-assessment questions. Number 1, compare and contrast exploratory, descriptive and causal research, and which approach is the best. Can you define it now, like which one is the best? No, we cannot say that, but depending on the situation, we can always tell which one is the best particular approach or research for this situation. Exploratory research is basically to explore things when we are not 100% certain about the problems. When we are somehow up to some extent we are clear about the situation, then we will be going for descriptive research. And when we know what is to be researched, we just have some questions and we are very clear that we need to define a relationship and so on. When we are 100% clear about the situation, we just need to know some figures, then only we go for causal research. So which one is the best? All of the approaches are good, right? So it depends. When you don't know anything, then exploratory research is best. When you know a few things, you are somewhat certain about some situations, then descriptive. And causal research is done when you are 100% clear about the situations of the company, but you just need to clarify a few things, then it is causal research. Then second is list the major stages in research process and explain the term forward linkage and backward linkage. I hope it is very clear. You can actually list down the stages in the research process, but because we have just discussed all the stages and sub stages of the research process, so let us just list down them once again. Number one, defining the research objectives. Number two, planning the research design. Then number three, planning the sample. Number four, collecting the data. Number five, analyzing the data. Number six, formulating the conclusions and preparing the report. You can add number 7 as discovering new problem. And how can we link forward linkage and backward linkage to that? Forward linkage means the same thing will be needed in future in forward steps. For example, research design is needed at all the steps, whereas research design is second step. And backward linkage is something which is decided at 1 or 2 steps back. Like for example, you are analyzing the data with the help of computers, and some coding is required. So that coding is to be done at the time of data collection, so as to face minimum problems while while analyzing the data. So that is called backward linkage, when the data when you have to decide a few things at backward steps. Last is explain how a researcher makes causal inferences. How would you make causal inferences? Causal means some cause and effect relationships, and a causal inference can only be supported when some specific causal evidence exists. For example, you know that advertising it is affecting sales. For example, you know that promotion of products is affecting your sales. For example, you know that launching a new product in this area would definitely affect the sales of your another product as well. So that is how you'll be deriving, you'll be going for causal research. So these are the inferences through which you know how to go with that. Thank you. I hope I was clear about the research process.